What's going on YouTube? Hey, it's Taylor Martin here again with you. So, I did a video about 7 months ago on my TX concept, and since then I've gotten a bunch of questions through my Instagram or YouTube itself, just asking more about the reel. Um, so, I have no problem telling people about the reel and making another video, so that's what this is. So, a lot of the questions I got were how durable is the reel and if I've had any problems with it. So, let's get right into it. I don't condone drinking, but well, I don't condone drinking if you're under 21. But my YouTube channel, I'm gonna drink. Get that out of there so Coors doesn't sue me. If you don't like Coors, sorry, it's all I had in my fridge. Anyway, so yeah, I'll do just a quick update on the reel. I've had it for about 8 months. My wife got it for me as a birthday gift, and I love her for that because they're extremely hard to find. 13 Fishing, who makes this reel, 13 Fishing only made a limited number of these, and you can still find them. But you can find them all over eBay, but a lot of people charge big money for them just because now they're hard to find in stores. I'm not even sure if you can get them off 13 Fishing's website anymore. So anyway, this is a 7 to 3 to 1. I like a faster gear ratio, so I can I throw this in freshwater and in saltwater. I've got two different rods I'll put it on. This is a Waterloo, the company that I'm sponsored by. This is a Waterloo Phantom. It's a nice little 7-foot medium action rod. Little quick tip, works great for top waters. I throw jigs on it too. It's perfect. But anyway, reviews about the reel. So it's very versatile. I'll throw it in saltwater here in the marsh in Jacksonville and catch big redfish, trout on it. Haven't been able to go down south yet and where I grew up and test it on some big snook, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm sure it'll be fine. With 22 pounds of drag in this little reel, I'm sure it won't be a problem if I have to stop any. But yeah, it's extremely versatile. I throw it in saltwater in the marsh all the time. It gets wet, it gets muddy. I mean, you can see it. I'm doing this with an iPhone, so bear with me. Let me show y'all real quick. It's got some mud on it. It's got some scuffs on it. Well, no real mud, but it's got some scuffs on it. It's taken a beating. I especially fishing in the marsh, in my kayak or just wading through the mud, and wading on the oyster bars. I get mud all over my stuff, and I hate it, but it's the price you pay when you fish in the marsh and you want to catch big reds that are blowing up in the marsh. So all I have to do though is bring it home, wash it off. About once every maybe 3 or 4 months, I'll take the reel apart and just make sure it's oiled up and greased up, lubed up, and it's good to go. Handle on it is still just as smooth as it was the day I got it. So saltwater side, it performs great. Freshwater side performs even just, it's perfect. Right now I've got 50-pound spider wire on here, and usually in saltwater, when I throw braid, which is just about all I throw, I don't like throwing mono in saltwater or freshwater period. I don't throw mono on any of my spinning reels. I don't throw mono really at all. And the reason why, like I said, is just because that stretch. I don't like that stretch. You have to really rear back and get a good solid hook set with mono. And especially fishing the marsh and fishing all the oyster bars that are around here in the tall grass like I have here in Jacksonville. I can't do mono leader or mono line, just because I've had fish take me in the oysters. I've had fish pull me under around dock pilings. I've had fish pull me in the thick grass and try and bury their nose in the grass. And spider wire braid just pulls them out every time, no issues. So, I decided to, I do a lot of frog fishing with my wife in some of the residential ponds around where I live and catch a lot of bass on frogs. So doing that, I spooled it up with 50-pound spider wire. Before that, I had 30-pound on here, 30-pound spider wire stealth, and it did great. I just ended up spooling up with 50 last week just to go out and catch some bass and kind of mess around. If I had more of these, which I'll be getting more eventually, if I had more of these, I have one for freshwater, a couple different ones for saltwater. But yeah, so as far as versatility goes though, and if I've had any issues with that, none whatsoever. Now as far as casting distance with this is by far, and without knowing how far the Concept Z cast, excuse me, if anybody isn't familiar with it, it's the orange reel from 13 Fishing that just came out, I want to say like middle of last year. Still pretty new on the market. It's going to be my next purchase. Has 0 ball bearings, and that reel supposedly is like one of the farthest casting reels on the market. Having thrown the best bait casters I think you can buy, I've thrown Curados, which is by Shimano. Curados have always been a staple bait caster for me. I love them, but I'll throw a Curado and I'll throw this reel, and with the same bait, same rod, everything, this reel I'll cast a Curado every time. Same braking system, everything set the same. So with the 1/8 ounce jig head with this reel, I can, with one brake on, I can cast an 1/8 ounce jig head about 50 yards, and for an 1/8 ounce jig head, that's slinging it. 16th ounce, which is usually what I throw on a low tide, just because the tide's so low and the water's so skinny. 35, 40 yards, which is plenty far enough for me. And again, that's just with the 16th and an 1/8 ounce jig head. You start getting top waters like spooks, top pups, things like that. I can sling a top pup with this 70, 80 yards with no problem at all. No backlashes, no issues, no nothing. I had 1 or 2 backlashes with this reel when I first got it, but that was just because I hadn't dialed it in yet. And since then, I don't have any. I haven't had a backlash with this reel, and I don't know how long. And granted, that's not always the reel. It's a lot of times it's operator error when you get backlashes. But I will tell you, just from experience, that yeah, I don't get backlashes with this reel. I haven't had any issues with it at all since I got it dialed in and set my brakes the way I want them. Again, everybody's different on what they like. Some people like. Sorry, I'm just looking at my rod guides. Some people like, a certain number of brakes on, a certain number of brakes off. For me, I put one brake on, and I tighten down the spool about almost as tight as it'll get, as tight as it'll get, and then I'll start working my way down from there until I find a spool speed that I like, and then I'll sling a jig out there, and then put a top water on, sling a top water, no issues. Super simple to operate. I'll show you the braking system on it. Is really, really simple. Right here you've got your side plate. Underneath you've got your switch right here. Just push that down and the side plate comes right off. Nice little bar right here, which I like. Holds it in place. And like I said, it's super simple. Right now I have my mine set on 2. And basically all you do is just you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all that does is just it's your braking control system, and all that's going to do is just allow you to set your centrifugal brakes that are in the reel, how fast the spool will spin, your anti-backlash that's on it. So usually the way spinning reels do it, the higher up the number, the stronger your anti-backlash is going to be. The lower the number, the lower it's going to be. Now that being said, with some reels I've had in the past, I like the bait caster to be the Backlash to be maybe set on 4 or 5. This one is on 2, and like I said, no issues whatsoever, and I can sling a bait a long way. I'm trying to think what else I could discuss here. Other than that, I mean, it's done a great job. Like I said, 22 pounds of drag and a little bait caster like that is just incredible for me. I don't think I'm ever really going to need 22 pounds of drag with this reel. But it's just nice to know that you have it if you want it. Super light, fits real well in your hand. I don't have very big hands. I don't have small hands. I don't have big hands. I guess I'm kind of average. But this little reel, I mean, fits perfectly in my hand. I can palm it really well. Doesn't matter how you hold it. I know people that hold a bait caster like this with their pinky finger resting on the trigger. I personally hold mine like this with my pinky finger and my ring finger in between the trigger, or the trigger in between those two fingers, excuse me. For me, it's super comfortable. Been super happy with it. 7:3-to-1 gear ratio is a must for me, especially fishing saltwater. Fishing freshwater as well on frogs. A lot of times you'll be working it, you'll have a bass blow up on the frog and miss it. You can really quickly reel that reel in and turn that handle real fast, bring that frog in, fire it back out there, and hopefully it blows up on it again. Same thing with redfish here in the marsh. A lot of times the redfish will eat the jig I throw, and as soon as I stick them and start winding, they'll race right towards me, and it's nice to be able to have that 7:3-to-1 gear ratio where you can really, really quickly pick up the line and keep the fish on tight so he doesn't come off. Anyway, so that was a quick little review. I say quick, it was about 12 minutes. If anybody has any questions, feel free to comment below. Check out my Instagram, loadedforbear556, and there's also my new Instagram that's getting really popular, which is tailormadefishin1993. So, have a good one. Take care, guys. Like I said, any questions, comment below. Hope I helped.